All right. Let me in, coach. This is gonna be great. Oh man. Thank you for everybody who's joining us. This is the ecosystem. I'm your host, Craig Moore. I got a couple of my friends with me. We decided to do this a little bit different. We decided to kind of, bring it to you live, honestly. I think it's a little bit better than doing it any other way. Bring that down a little bit just to get hear me a little bit more. But just want to thank y'all for who's gonna join me on this jump. We're gonna kick it to y'all for probably about an hour, a little bit over an hour. Got a couple of topics. Uh, maybe we get some commentary. But yeah, I don't know if anybody can hear me. Hopefully, people can hear me. I know you can't see me. I know I got the overlay on. Yeah, I guess I can remove the overlay. I just want to get y'all some of the vibes. But yeah, welcome to the Ecosystem Podcast. I'm bringing my boy Craig Smith and Miss Charlotte. Sooner or later, we're gonna have Don join us. He thought I was gonna do something bigger than that. What's going on, y'all? Can y'all hear me? Come on,
Yep,
homie.
yep.
Yes.
All right, all right. I think everybody's used to seeing us on Patreon. I think this is gonna be a different vibe, a good vibe. But yeah, just kind of excited to be with y'all. Where's Dude Don at, man?
I'm excited too, particularly because I did my homework.
Ah, I see. That's what the little break off gives you. You know what I mean? You get some time to get some work done.
Uh huh.
Are you
Yeah.
I don't
saying
even
you've
think
been
I.
ad
Go ahead,
libbing
Sean.
this whole time, Craig Smith? Is what my question is.
In the prior, we didn't. Well, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Ad lib.
I've been just trying my best.
Oh man, no. What's going on with y'all? It's been about 3 weeks since we had our last episode. Really excited to kind of bring it back in this way. But yeah,
I've been,
sorry.
it's been real apocalyptic around this mug. So, you know, I think along with everybody else, we've just been trying to figure out what all this means. What are we going to be, in for? Is this the end times? It looks
Man,
like it. So,
man. What about you, Charlotte? How you been?
I've been good. I don't feel like it's the end of times, but I don't watch the news, so just been over here bopping,
save yourself
smoking,
and buy a gun.
not
What is
thinking
that
about
life like?
anything at all.
Please tell me what that life is like without watching the news. I mean, you do have social media, but are we like where do you get your context from of like what's happening in the world?
Well, I've come back onto TikTok,
Mhm.
so like I get bits and pieces, but you know how you can like curate your own algorithm. So like it's just a lot of like giggles, um, and like smart people talking about smart things that are
Yeah.
not necessarily news related.
Mm.
Um, I love it over here. I mean, like I know that like the world is literally falling apart. Um,
It's on fire in some
yeah,
minds.
but having a little shelter from it is great.
It's a good place to be.
It's a great place to be. No, I wanted to really kind of use this episode. I thought a lot about like how do I kind of get back in the groove of the ecosystem pod, get back to talking to you all. just because we hit a little bumps. You know what I mean? If you guys kind of been rolling with us since the first 3 episodes, we were inside of the Bevel. Shout out to the Bevel who hosted us in their space. Shout out to Craig who would come out there and lug his equipment out there. Shout out to Rock Paper Scissors who would get our content rolled out, cut up, and marketing and all that other stuff. But y'all, that shit costs money and it's expensive. And so I had to reel it back just a little bit, just so we can kind of really get our foot on the pedal, but still bring really great content. And I think that bringing content, Craig really brought it up in one of our meetings, like let's just go live instead of just talking to each other in a virtual space and all that other stuff. Like let's just kind of bring it to the people. We can get some good engagement. People not really waiting on the pod. They can engage right then and there. So I think that if we bring consistency for a good, we're going to do a 12 episode season. So this right here is episode 4. And so we're going to finish out this season strong. We got a couple of guests coming up, not today, but in the future. Really excited about that. But ultimately, just wanted to get with my people and just kind of see what they've been doing, hear from y'all, and get y'all's reflection on the drawback of where we are right now. It's not a drawback, but it's just it's a relaunch. Is it a relaunch? It's a pivot. There we go. Yeah.
There you go. I think everybody's excited. It's just about time.
And honestly, like this is kind of where we started off at. Like when Black Excellence first started, we were a pandemic baby, and we wanted to figure out ways to be able to get the message of what's happening in our space as Black professionals, as Black entrepreneurs, as Black leaders to the crowd. And I think that in time, people seen us as that trusted space to where we were able to garner partnerships, and we grew very vastly. And I would say what really grew in that moment more than anything was just the weight of the mantle now, right? Like you're now this centralized space where people are getting their how do I navigate, you know what I mean, type instructions. And we did our best to not did our best, we sought out to be able to make sure that we can get that people quickly. And this is kind of like the theme of like what I really want to talk about. I'm kind of use myself as a centralized person of this or subject of this to really talk to leaders who, when you are coming up on those really great ideas, or you're getting the awareness of the things that you have created, what does it really mean? Or the question that I created was, what is the gap between you and what you ask people? Let me stop you. I'm trying to be too structured. It's too much. So what I wanted to do
in real time.
we'll just bring it in, you know what I mean? And just try to see one, the space. Like Craig, I rely on Craig on so much. I rely on Charlotte so much. Don, whenever if he gets a chance to drop in, I rely on Don a lot. And really what I want to do with this content is just bring a transparent look at what it means to evolve as a leader. You know what I mean? And use my friends to kind of help guide my thoughts as I go along with it. So yeah, man, that's kind of what I want to set up for today's pod. I got a little video set up, but yeah, just ultimately just kind of want to hear from you all. How's it been? I don't want to say like the impact of the pod or anything like that, but just what's been going on in life since, things have shifted in any type of way, or in the last 3 weeks.
I'll say for me, it's been it's been harrowing navigating these entrepreneurial roads.
Yeah.
A lot of persistence, but still reckoning with the difficulty of the journey through trying to, make your way, because there's no real, for anything, there's no playbook, and all the playbooks are getting rewritten. So, it feels like that.
Facts. Charlotte, you're not in our space, but how is it for you, or what do you see that's happening in the cities that you're in?
I don't know. I've been kind of in my own world. There's been a lot of things happening. I've been traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like life is shifting and changing. I've started a new job. I'm like still doing too many things at once. So this is like the first couple of days I've been able to be like, okay, we've settled in. How are we feeling? How are we thinking? I'm exhausted.
I want to push back on that. I've been struggling with that, like doing too much or putting too many things on my plate, because I feel like that's not even like a real thing anymore, because we have to do like so much. We just got to learn how to like manage it better. You know what I mean? Or manage how, I don't even want to say manage how much, because I think, man, I am chomping at the bits, or my wife thinks that I bring on too much stuff anyway on a regular basis. But it's just like sometimes it's like, yeah, I just got to make it happen. So I push back on it just a little bit, but not too much. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that like I similarly have like previously thought that like doing too much was just like I have to give my all to each
Mm.
thing. And so I just don't have the time or capacity. I'm older now. I can't do this like 100% on everything. So I've also been very like cognizant of if I'm going to give my all to one thing, I got to like lessen it a little and like make everybody aware that like the energy is about to drop. And like if you need something from me, you got to like ask very specifically. So it has been a different kind of adjustment, juggling things in a different way. But I like anticipated that like there was just no way that I was going to be able to like put 100% of myself across all of them.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal because no, the thing I've been fighting with has been like nobody cares. You need to produce results. Like in my head, it's always that. It's like I need a break, but I need to get this done, this done, and this done. And like, don't nobody care if I'm tired. Like, but it's that. It's like that giving yourself the permission to not give 100% of the time because nobody's designed and structured that way unless they own that gas station or whatever. And then the little pills that you get from up there is like in Energy X or
Oh
something.
yeah.
But no, it definitely feels like how can I do more? How can I do more? How can I do more? But then, yo,
I mean, we gotta rest at some point, but at the same time, it's just like, and again, I think that's where it comes to. It's like the systems that we bring or the structures that we create for ourselves to be able to do more. I think it's even more now like pivotal that we kind of create those things and we make them happen, and we do it within ourselves too. Like I think that there is so much like BX was built on so many people's talents coming together. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't, teaching people to do graphic design or teaching people to build programs or teaching people to, you know what I mean? Like people came with that, you know what I mean? And so it's like, and we are able to, share each other's resources. But I think that at times um, I think that when we are in those kind of collective or kind of coalition type projects or coalition type things, we still think of ourselves as like this siloed individual, you know what I mean, who's kind of doing the work that they need so that they can be able to eat outside of, we're doing this for this greater thing. I don't know. It's just
yeah, the ecosystem part is the muscle that's atrophied. I think for a lot of people through generations of capitalism, right? Like you don't have the collective sense of my effort is for everyone naturally. That's something that is influenced by somebody who already knows, or you get to the end of yourself and it's like, all right, what else do I have? And
hmm
it's people.
hmm hmm yeah. I think oftentimes I ask myself like, what is the gap between what I ask of people to lead, you know what I mean? Like if you're leading them out, or like what is it that I'm asking you of? And then also like, and then what is it that I've built for them to be able to do that? You know what I mean? Or what is it that I've created for them to do that? Like have I done enough, or am I asking the right questions, so then that way the ecosystem can be able to, you know, thrive. Because I think that's my role. You know what I mean? I don't have. I mean, I do have many skills. I think I'm one of those um, jack of all trades. You know, but I have a talent of many. But it's because that allows me to kind of help, I guess, like see where all the pieces go. You know
Right.
what I mean? But how do you help people kind of understand, like, all right, this is for the greater good outside of anything else?
How you convince people to be for people?
Yeah.
That might be a struggle.
You don't. I mean, they either like. I think what I've seen is that you gotta first understand if everybody is on the same page as you, and then if they're not, which I think we've talked about in a different episode, like you can't like pull people in by force. Um, so if they're not for the community, for the vision you're bringing, then they can watch on the sidelines and cheer for you. But to have to exert extra energy so that other people who are not aligned can join you is feels like wasted energy.
It it feels like wasted energy, and it also feels like there's a better strategy. Like most people, like the term "most people" means average, and the average tends to want to stay stagnant and does not really appreciate change as much as, you know, some people would like to make you believe that they do. So in order to get people to have a mindset that changes in any way, but, you know, most of all, to do something that feels like taking from themselves, like
Mm.
you're taking from me if I'm not the center of it. You're taking from me if I have to give something of myself for the collective and maybe not see a return from it. You know, it requires uh, either the inspiration that this is something better, that this is so much better for you, or you just got to convince them that there's no other option.
Yeah.
Like this is propaganda, you know. And I think within an organization or as a leader or as a parent, for sure, you have to inspire changed minds repeatedly, sometimes through force in the case of parenting, and sometimes through you know,
Or
or
at
just
work.
hey, you know. But I was just listening to a podcast where they were talking about Hitler and
Mm.
his ascension to become the chancellor or whatever the fuck he was in Germany. And I always assumed that everybody was just on board, like, and that he rose to power because there were so many people that believed what he was saying that just, but it wasn't really like that. They were actually 32% of the electorate was on their side. They were the
Mm.
second most popular party, but what they did was they infiltrated. They in the strategy that they used. The host was saying that they waited until their enemies destroyed themselves, basically. Sometimes, so this is me preach. Sometimes you gotta wait. Sometimes you gotta wait for your obstacle to destroy itself. So yeah,
Yes, sir.
to Charlie's
Yes, sir.
point, like you don't make people all the time. Sometimes it's just not the right season.
Yeah, yeah. And I
I
think
just
I think go ahead, Charlie.
sorry, I just was going to say I can't believe we aligned ourselves to a strategy Hitler used. Go ahead.
I mean, you know, there's systems success, there's systems everywhere, you know what I mean? Whether his success is a success that we agree with or not, you know what I mean? It was something that was useful at that time. Let me stop talking about that. I gotta get up out of there somehow. But so yeah.
Why are we so uncomfortable talking about what
No,
All right, Dr. King,
I just
It happened. No,
man.
no, it happened. It happened. And he was, hey, he did what he did. But no, but I do think, as you were saying, Craig, it applies to so many different facets and so many different versions of leadership, whether you're at your gig or especially in parenting. like you have to know how to one, create value in a way to where, and then also be able to communicate what that value is so that people can see how they're aligned in it. And I think like at times though you get so caught up in the success of that, because I mean I think that's what happened to me. Like we were strong and had really great strong fundraising years. And I will say, like, I caught the wave, the post George Floyd wave of just like the faucet being turned on. And I think myself, and I was in denial for quite some time, like many other Black founders. We like thought that what we were bringing, like my grants were good, but they're not, they weren't as good as what they needed to be post George Floyd water wave. You know what I mean? Like now the DEI is gone. Now that there's no longer a soft heart for a Black, you know, like there is now more, and rightfully so. We want to know what the impact is going to be or has been for these projects. And if you're not producing that, then why would we continue to give you dollars? And so you kind of like smell yourself a little bit thinking that things are going to be good and resourceful, but you're not really stewarding in the right way. And so it's like how I wonder what other, and this kind of sets up the video a little bit too, where I feel like this happens for entrepreneurs in so many different ways. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it. Actually, I'm gonna pull the video up if y'all down with that, just so we can kind of get that cracking. Can y'all hear that note?
And you ain't got no
Refresh. You ever heard that song? No.
Entrepreneurs, because it's allowed people to skip steps.
yes.
So it allows you to make money from your Instagram page, right? A good idea, a good look, and then before you know it, you think that you have a business, but you really don't, because you never had to go through the stages of actually building the foundation of what a business actually entails. So you're making revenue, and psychologically you have a lot of confidence because you're like, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business. And then as soon as you hit a speed bump, you fall apart because the house is built with no foundation.
Yeah. And you ain't got no team.
Right. You have no team, you have no infrastructure, you have no plan in place, you have nothing. And I think that was a problem for a lot of people. During the pandemic, it was good sailing for a lot of people on the internet side. And then when things changed, a lot of people realized, or maybe they didn't realize, but they got taken under because they never really figured out what running a business really is.
Yeah.
What y'all think about that perspective and how we see just like things changing, not just for Black businesses, but just our economy is changing, is different now. You know what I mean? And when I think about this moment, I think what got me the hardest about this moment as a leader is that I feel like I squandered time, like I wasted time. You know what I mean? Because we accomplish a lot of good things, right? But I have to pause, right? Like, you know, I have to reset, I have to pivot. And so in this pivot, I feel like, okay, did I waste time? You know what I mean? Did I waste resources somebody else could have had? Like there was so much came on to me, you know what I mean, about it. And I wonder, like they were talking to Pinky from Slutty Vegan, very popular restaurant in Atlanta, tried to spread themselves too thin. You see Uncle Nearest going through it. Like you see all of these, you know, we're not gonna talk about Black Lives Matter or anything like that, but you know, like there is so much happening in that wave of post George Floyd content or post George Floyd support and resources. Like, how do y'all see that? I guess like in the shakeup of where we are in our economy. Go ahead,
I'm gonna defer to you, Charlotte, because I got a hot take.
Okay. I mean, I think that like this is all like always has been ebbs and flows.
Mhm.
I think what I'm seeing where I'm at is that there's like ecosystem shifts of leaders. People are leaving jobs, organizations are changing leaders, which, like, in one hand, the shakeup is like, oh no, what's going on? What's happening? But on the other hand, it means that, like, when people shift jobs, it means that new people can come in and fit those slots, and culture shifts and infrastructure shifts, etc. So I think there's like some of that, and I think the expectation that like inherently coming out of a pandemic,
Mhm.
like things were always going to shift again, and things will shift in the next 5 years, in the next 5 years.
Mhm.
So like, how do you adapt to that? And I think that maybe there was some like, oh, like post George Floyd, like everybody cares and everybody's going to continue to care. And we saw very quickly that like the caring was a pop culture wave, and then we've moved on to other things that we care about. Um, and so it's just kind of like, how do you readjust, knowing that the shift is happening, the shift will happen again.
Yeah.
So I don't think that things are as doomed as they might appear. Like,
Okay.
when it comes to businesses, I think you laid out some high profile examples of some shortcomings and some very personal and close examples of what's going on with the shakeup just politically, and how dollars are spread in these sectors that were booming a few years ago, 6 years ago. At the same time, like, ebb and flow, to flow, you have to go somewhere, right? Like, there is money in spaces. People are still spending money on, the commodities and things that they enjoy. When it comes to entrepreneurship, leadership, and the sustained growth of a business, a lot of it has shifted online. In the demographics, I would bet everything in this room are remaining consistent with just trended growth. To address that video, though, man, what the fuck? Where do you be getting these videos? Where
I
do you
think this
get
says something more about
That's real shit, dog.
algorithm.
That's my algorithm is flooded with what's that say about my algorithm? What y'all trying to say? Come on.
It's
Tell me.
negative.
It's not negative.
It just feels like the last 5 videos that you've shown me have all been some niggas scolding other black people about something that they supposed to do or stop doing. Like,
Right.
people are fine, people are doing what they're.
No, they not. It is people out here who are blind and lost and thinking that they know what they doing, and they are not, like me, wasting resources. Like,
So
dog.
this is my thing. There was a U in 1996. There was a U in 1976. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a new thing. It's just that we have, exactly like his ass can get a DSLR and some lights and talk shit. There was a person that got a table and some pots and pans and plates and shit and started a restaurant. Like, just because it's more audienced when failure happens now doesn't mean that it's just a bunch of brand new people going willy-nilly starting businesses because social media exists. If you take the medium and you change it, there was probably the same ratio of people that were like starting their thing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, or actually it grew throughout the 80s and into the 90s. But this is the American way. What do you like? Okay, case in point. Sorry. I was reading an article earlier, not about Hitler, about genocide, but in Gaza, there are these high-end restaurants that have started popping up. And I thought that, where the article was going to take it was it's the people that perpetrated this bombarding of their land that just moved over there and started to. No, it's the people that benefited from the war who lived there already. And they're making all of these great looking establishments across the street from rubble. Now, you could say that those people are misguided because who's going to be able to afford that? And just because they got the wealth and the opportunity similar to us having the opportunity and the wealth of information that we have with the internet now, that maybe they shouldn't start a business right now. They don't know what it takes to start a business. They used to doing something like, you could say anything. Sorry.
No, you good. Keep going.
Bro.
No.
These are we're using some divisive examples.
Is it really divisive though? Is it really
You're talking
divisive?
about my Gaza thing and my Hitler thing.
Yeah. I'm like, at this point, I just want to be like, well, first, free Palestine, but also like,
I'm not caping for them doing that. I'm saying like you will be able to spot somebody taking advantage of whatever with whatever resources that they have.
I mean, that's true. I think that I spend a lot of time in data spaces. I listen to a lot of hardcore data news, and macroeconomics to me, like it means something when you see. You're right. We're in ebbs and flows. Excuse me, but also we're in this opportunity of. I don't know what it is that makes me feel like, all right, now it's like reconstruction time. You know what I mean? Because we are in this AI age. You know what I mean? And we can make up new rules and we can do things differently. But if we are one, I think I'm in spaces to where there are a lot of people trying to keep things the same, or they're trying to fight for the history of what they are keeping to stay along, which I'm with. But it also, that fight, or there's so much energy stuck on that fight that there's no space for innovation or something new to happen. You know what I mean? Like, we had a Dr. King, like you're probably stepping over the next Dr. King because you're not giving them, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole like psychological in that. And then there are people who I guess like are, I don't even know. I think I just got stuck on that. I just lost that. I lost that. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of life. I lost that thought. But I think that it's just it becomes this like this sense of urgency of like, all right, I just need y'all to get it. And I get like I would love to be on island time and to just kind of like let people figure it out. But I think I have this fear of like, and again, this is me continuing to kind of create more stories. I'm like having Don in the back of my head right now. But who says that? Who said that that was true? Like,
yeah, I was like, I had a lot of thoughts about the fact that like, you're like, oh, did I waste other resources that like other people should have had? It's like, but why did it have to be a waste? Like, I think the grants you won when you won them were important. They were necessary. We used them to show impact. And like, whether or not the impact we created was something that people wanted to continue to fund or not, I think does not mean that the money that was given is a waste.
mm-hmm.
I think there's like a validation in being like, okay, like we were onto something. There was an opportunity.
100%.
And
I mean, it's not dead, but I'm sorry to cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah, and also like the fact that we gotta like call things dead. There's like other work I'm doing that is going through a similar parallel of this like, oh well, like did I kill it? Like like the momentum is lost, and like I was trying to keep the momentum going. And it's just like in the reflection, it's like, okay, well if we're gonna play this game, we can say that like this has been dying for a while, or it's been slowing down for a while. But like it gives you a great place to be like, all right, like let's shift it. Let's like take a beat, close it down. If like nobody is like banging your door down, being like, why are you closed? I think it's a great time to reflect. And this is why I think the failure, and especially in startup times, like failing is part of the learning process. It's part of the pivoting process. And instead of being like, oh, everything we wasted, it's more like, what did we learn? And how does that learning take us to the next phase?
Yeah, I think that I'm trying my hardest to not sound as negative about it or be. Oh, here go Don too. Man, he right on time.
We summoned him.
We were talking about Hitler. And...
What's up, bro?
What's up, y'all?
What's happening, bro? Man, thanks for joining us today. I was in my thoughts, and they were giving me a good little lashing, just about like
lashing.
Wow.
Not lashing. I mean, Craig brought up Hitler and Gaza. So it's just like has these examples to cheer me up. So I was like, that was great.
can I say something to
Yeah.
add a button on what we were just talking about? Like
Mhm.
Virgil Abloh said something that I'll never forget. He was talking about Pyrex and all the ideas that led up to Pyrex, which was his clothing line before Off-White. And he just basically went and took a bunch of polo and put Pyrex on the back, sold out. Like, he was saying that the benefit of nobody knowing who you are, or the benefit of failure, is that you can just start over.
Mm.
You can literally just start over.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think that's kind of what it is. I mean, that's what this is. Like this space, I think that one, realizing that in the journey of trying to scale, like at many times, many leaders like lose who they are and lose what the actual vision is. And I think like in my times of reflection, and I'm trying not to. I think one, I want y'all to know that I'm okay. I'm not like at home sulking or anything like that. I think I'm really trying to play this up for lead other leaders out there who might be going through what I'm going through. So I'm good. I'm not suicidal, and I don't think I failed. But I do. I did go through those thoughts. I went through those thoughts of like, did I waste time? Did I waste money? How do one? I have a really there's this thing about how people look at me, and then two, also to be in spaces where people come up to me and they be like, "Oh man, I love what you've been doing in the community," and they can't explain to me what I've been doing in the community. Like, and it's like, okay, so like, who like what where does that happen at? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, it just at this point, it's like, I mean, I'm just like, fuck it, like it's all fake anyway. So it's like, why not be me? You know what I mean? And just kind of do my thing and put myself out there for what it is. Because like, I don't think y'all remember. Well, y'all don't know when we were doing Black Excellence and a lot of the program, we were trying to be like incognito about like what it is we really were trying to do. Like we didn't want to turn people off of saying y'all not treating Black professionals right in your corporations, and they need to get paid more. And because I mean it became abrasive and people got scared, you know what I mean, and they wouldn't pay you thousands of dollars to make them cry, you know what I mean. So it's like, I don't want to do that, and I want to be, and I thought, the things that I were doing were sustainable things, but then it was sustainable in that current system. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't think I planned for. So yeah. See the wheels turning, Don. Go ahead and ask a question.
Well, the wheels are turning because my camera was slowing down. So I was trying to see if it was the full connection or if it was just me. But I heard everything that you said clearly. I think maybe I need a little bit more of the context of what y'all are talking about in terms of a sense of failure.
What's a good synopsis of what we've been talking about, Charlotte and Craig?
He played a dumbass video. No, I was playing. He played.
I played this. Oh yeah, I gotta play the video. Let's play the video. No, I ain't gonna play that video again.
No, re-roll it so I can be refreshed in this time.
You wanna? Okay, I'll play the video again. All right. Do I still got it? Oh dang.
I'll summarize it. He was basically in the video saying, why y'all niggas out here starting it? The internet got y'all all just fucked up, thinking y'all could just start businesses, and y'all don't have any clue how to work a business. Y'all don't have any idea what it's like to lead people. You ain't got no team, you ain't got no money, you ain't got no space, you're Black. You know, he just going in.
Who was saying that?
Some nigga, bro.
It's
Like
a dude from EYL, the Earn Your
Oh.
Leisure guys. Yeah, the Earn Your Leisure
okay.
guys. Yeah.
I would just ask the question,
you
how else do you get all those things?
He was trying, like, listen, y'all. We are this is why this system this is me trying to play devil's advocate of somebody who was in the system trying to work the system for what it is, right? And it's like, yo, it's people who's clogging up the pipeline. You know what I mean? And
pipeline and pause.
Oh. So I think what's interesting to me about this, what's interesting about this to me is like context. Is like whose world is this that they're talking about? Because there's millions of worlds. There's like so many different little pockets of people and different systems of things, and so I mean, I didn't see the video, so I don't know who he's talking
I
to
mean,
or
I
what.
would say he ain't targeting the average Joe. He's not targeting, somebody that we would see walking down 27th Street or something like that.
Sure.
But maybe he was. I feel like
he was.
it was for anybody who had been utilizing the internet during the pandemic to make money. And so I think that there were a lot of average Joes walking around doing that through some sort of content. And then the point of the video was that, like, once the pandemic ended and
Sorry.
once the pandemic ended and then, like, your system falls apart or like no one wants to buy from you anymore, and then what? And it was like, oh, well, you don't have a team and you didn't have systems ready for that. But like, again, there's like literal like companies that are built off of this same like structure.
I'm about to show y'all who he was talking about. This is the people he was talking about.
Because before then, like, I was just trying to figure shit out. Like, I was doing fraud, but I
This
didn't have
man
like real goal. I was just doing shit like
just got COVID dollars
So heavy, bro.
and was just finessing people on the internet, talking about they could be millionaires, and now he's going to jail. And you know what I'm saying, for a $3.8 million scheme. And it's people like that who feel like, I mean, maybe he's all the way on one side of the spectrum, but there are people who are on a very, very close to that spectrum who are creating false hope and dreams out of people who.
But that's the most American thing ever, bro. Like,
completely.
Since when are we complaining about scamming? Like,
absolutely,
that's what we're supposed to do.
Also, there's like a certain level of like planning you have to do to scam people. So,
I mean, those are real businesses. They just don't last in the way that people might think they want them to because they're built on this fallacy. But we see that even in other stuff. But I'm interested. Business. Like, I'm curious about and I don't really know. I obviously don't know them personally, and I don't really follow them. But I've seen it in passing. But like the Earn Your Leisure guys, like, ain't that what they do? Like,
scamming,
not scamming.
Oh, okay.
But giving this hope of what you're supposed, like, and that's who they draw, is all these people who want something fast, want something easy, got some, like, and it's not even fast and easy, but that is the American way. Like, the American myth is like, what you can have anything you want and
just convince people.
Yeah, I mean, but what's interesting again to me about that is that the reality is that like all of this shit is made up. Like every single ounce of everything that we experience, somebody just decided, enough people agreed with, and then they just kept it moving until people started to disagree with it. And so you do have systems and structures that are set up with some level of resilience to all the ways that people evolve and all the ways that technologies evolve. But
I mean, but how can you grow and sustain off of like exactly what you guys are talking about? There's a new economy called the learning economy, where people flippers are now flipping houses. They flip 2 or 3 houses, and then the next thing you know, they start doing courses, and now they're coaching people on how to flip, and now they get more money doing the learning economy than what they're doing actually flipping houses. And now no houses are actually, you know what I mean? And you got janky people who are learning these $100, $120 courses that are not really giving them anything of substance. But that person is doing a business, but they're not producing great results from their product, in my opinion.
The results that they claim to be able to help produce.
100%.
But that's not because of what they've created. I think it's more because of the people and what they expect it to be. Like, because if you that guy, if you that girl, like, you can make something out of seemingly nothing because it's about you doing it more than it is about what's being done. Like, that's what I've seen as the clearer, cleaner reality. And so, I mean, when people get quote unquote scammed, when people get in a world where they don't produce, most people don't produce shit. Most people do not. And it's not because they can't necessarily is because they aren't willing to pay the cost of what it takes to actually make something.
Mm.
And that's really what it's about. It's like everything has a trade-off. And so, yes, I can have anything that I put my mind to or whatever, but I gotta trade something. And if I'm trying to stay the same and do that, done deal.
So
And
how
so
do, how
that's
do
the
you
trade-off.
how do you determine what that cost should or shouldn't be? I guess in that space, like what is it
According
that?
to who?
Well, I think I think a lot of times people determine what their goal is, what they want to pay for, before they actually count up how much they got in their energy tank, or how much you need to be loved, or how much you like dealing with people, or like these are the currencies that you have to store up, or at least count to know what it is you can actually go for. What do you want your day to look like? What do you like when shit gets bad, like bad? Are you resilient enough to go through with whatever it is that you need to do in the face of it?
And when is that? When does something get bad? Like really?
Like when you run out of options,
When does that happen?
when you run out of money.
Uh-huh. When you run out of money, you
Yep.
run out of options. And that's where it all comes down to. It's like, why do we, and I'm not asking this for real, but when we believe that running out of money is the reason that we don't continue or keep doing something, it's because we were running on the wrong fuel. Like money is a certain kind of fuel, but it's not the full determinant. Like, because there's money fucking everywhere. Whether it comes to you or not, that's dependent on how big of a container you are to be able to hold it, or a big of a conduit for it to pass through. It's not really that there is not enough money. It's that you didn't access it, or you didn't do what it takes to actually make yourself able to receive it. And that's a whole different story. But running out of options, again, is that a real thing? No, there are just certain options that you've already decided are not for you. And so you don't have them as accessible to yourself. It's all self-determined. Like, people do what they want to do at the end of the day. And when they really want something bad enough, then they find a way. Or I guess really what the more the reality is they create a way. Because there isn't a stopping point. The only stopping points that we have are the ones that we determine. And the pain that we go through in getting to that point, we still have another line where it's like, and so it goes back to the cost. Like, what cost am I willing to pay? Most people don't count that fully. And there's no way to fully count it because you don't know what you're going to encounter down the road. So there's all these things in the mix, but people try to make it like it's a concrete thing. And so when they hit a certain point, or when they feel a certain tightness or get into a certain amount of pain, then they just quit. But that ain't really how it works. There's avenues on everything. And yeah, you can get to a point where you decide, all right, I'm done paying this cost. But the reality is that we got way more than we think we got. When we get to the end of that sense of like, I can't do anymore, when we get to that point, we could go further. We've just convinced ourselves that we can't. You know how many times I feel like that even now? Like, I'm parenting. This is the parenting world. Like the level of, I'm at a level of mental and physical exhaustion that I haven't experienced in a long time. And it'd be easy to quit. It'd be easy to be like, I'm done. But because I've already had some of the experience where I'm like, I mean, being an older parent, I guess it helps because it's like, I remember I got more than what I think I got. I got more patience than what I feel like I can actually exhibit. I got more energy than I'm utilizing right now in this moment. I've got more power stored up that I haven't accessed because I haven't had to. So there's a whole store of energy that only opens up when shit gets hard enough that it has to open up that one little capsule, like, all right, let's go. So then you get your next boost. Like, this is the reality of what it means to be human, a part of it, and it's a reality of what life is. It's like, where's the end? And it only happens when we decide it. So to answer your question, Craig, is like, or when people hit a part when they have no more options, like, I don't understand what that means, right? Like, because there's always another option.
Articulate. I think we're saying the same thing. It's just you got to what no more options looks like with a different definition.
Yeah,
Like,
and it reminds me of this anime I used to watch called or this anime called Baki, and Baki got his greatest strength when he got his tail kicked the worst, and it was like when he trained himself by jumping off of a cliff so that he can get himself to this endorphin fear factor where all of a sudden it just kicked in and he just has this, you know, now all these like cat like reflexes all of a sudden as he's going down the cliff. So it's like, I mean, but does it always take that type of hurt or that type of fear to get you to that next point? Like, why do you always have to go through pain or does it, or is that the story that you're telling yourself?
Yeah.
So
I
is
was
it
about to say that.
Mm-hmm.
what,
Like, I think
the story?
Yeah, like I think
Mhm.
what Craig Smith was talking about was like having the time to prepare yourself, I think is the real foundation point of like, what am I willing to do? Like, what might happen if things get hard, and what am I still willing to put myself through? And like having the mindset of like when things are theoretically painful, I think it's when you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, or like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was, or whatever else you tell yourself is like, oh, this is overwhelming. Like, that doesn't mean that it's like actually physically painful. It just means that like you just were not expecting. And like if you were to
Mhm.
expect that it was going to be hard, then you'd be like, oh, here's a hurdle. Fine. Like, let's jump over this. Or, oh, here's a bigger hurdle. All right, cool. Like, I can figure out my way through this. And I think that not many people, when they especially jump into entrepreneurship or even like building nonprofits or things like that, like there's always, as we've already mentioned, there's always gonna be ebbs and flows. And so it's like what it means when things dry up or when you don't get your grant. Like, what does that mean for the work you're doing? And like, I mean, we can talk all day about like, you know, paying people and wanting to make sure that people are compensated and all of that. But what does it look like to ask everybody, like, hey, are you like willing to like move it through? And like, why don't we ask the people who are joining the cause, like, what are you all willing to do when this gets really hard? Because I think that answer could surprise you. And I think that this podcast is like the manifestation of all of us being like, yeah, it's fine. Like, we can continue, like, whatever you got to do. And we're still moving through it. It might be a little bit harder than it was when you all were in person. It's a little bit more awkward when you're trying to like do a virtual live session. But I mean, it doesn't mean that this is a fail.
What you just said, Charlotte, reminded me of the reasons that people do things. And this is why when you start something, to have, you know, the cliche way they talk about it is having a big enough why, having a reason that is strong enough, having something significant enough to you that when you hit this point, when you hit the point where you want to quit, when you hit the point when things don't look like they're working out the way you expected them to, that's where you get to tap in. And to Craig Smith, your point, man, like, it seems like there's no other options. Again, it's an illusion. It's not a reality in its full, like, it's not real. Like, running out of options is not a real thing. There's always more options. Even if it's just doing something crazy, like, there is an option. And if you limit yourself to not have options, that's when the shit feels tight and it feels like you can't go on. But it's only you doing it to yourself at the end of the day. Like, it's us doing it to ourselves. But the things that get revealed in those moments are some of the things that actually help us activate. Like, back to the parenting example, I just realized how much work I've done to be able to get to the point of being out of my like physically and mentally exhausted, and still being like, nah, we here, we doing this. Like, this is what I chose on purpose. It wasn't an accident. I planned for it. I did all the stuff to make it happen, and I'm in it. And now is when it really matters that I made that commitment. Like, it don't matter to make the commitment when shit's going good. The commitment matters when it gets really, really, really challenging to keep it. So I think it all works together. And if we can project that forward and recognize that there's probably going to be a point when it comes, and if it doesn't, great. But when it does, that's what the game is about. Like, that's what the whole game is about, is that when you can get to that point and be like, all right, I want to quit, and I'm keeping on going. Like, that's the real thing. And that's what makes it even that much more valuable when you hit whatever pinnacle of success you think you want to hit. Because the reality of that part is that when you get the shit, it's like nothing. Mm-hmm. You reach your goals, and it's just like it's just another thing. Like, so it's not really about the destination as much as it's about the process of going through what it takes to reveal things in you that show you who you are, that allow you to step into greater arenas, that allow you to step into greater heights, that allow you to keep moving through life in a way that's powerful when you don't feel like doing it no more. Mm-hmm. It's shedding off all the little shit that you thought you were and then revealing who you really are. And for some people, you ain't really all you thought you was, and that's okay. But if you're willing to look that in the face and be like, yeah, all right, this was harder than I thought it was. But the reason that I started it is heavy enough, so I'm gonna just stay here. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep moving.
Yeah, I think that person is like, and I agree with everything you're saying. I think that the person who's close to realizing that they're not that, or questioning if they are that, is the person that I'm singling out as well, because it's like, you know, along this journey, there's a whole lot of unknowns, and one of them, and the biggest one, was in our homework that we haven't gotten to, because I assume there's another video. But that person that is in that spot, and maybe this is the first go around with some real actual consequences to the decision that they made, and weren't able to make that decision before. Even bringing it back to like the social media business, maybe he's speaking from a place of the threshold of that pain is a lot less significant when you're just doing it via the internet. But it's still, is a thing. Trauma is trauma, no matter where it comes from, no matter on what level the body receives it and processes it as a threat. So for that person that's in that spot, like it is like Don is saying, like, just keep going, keep pushing, figure out a way, or quit.
Yeah, just quit. Because I mean, this is the space I'm in right now. But on the parenting front, again, like, there's been several times where in the last few days I've been confronted with this thing of like, I'm not really that great of a father. Like, I'm just not that dude, because I feel the thing that I feel. It's not because I'm doing anything different, but it's the question pops up because, Avery's starting to get to this point where she's like trying to process her emotions in a significant like moment where they get tested, and she like is all over the place, and I'm like, I don't really know what to do about this right now. And so I have that thought where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't know how to address this. How do I address this? And I'm just at a loss. There's nothing coming. And I'm like, dang, I'm not really that good of a father, really. And I just feel the sadness sink in, and I'm still just there holding her and just processing and being patient with her, being patient with myself, and then she's fine. It's like, can you get through those moments of despair, and they are just moments, or are you going to just let that cause you to bounce? And so if you put yourself in situations where there are less options to leave, or it's harder to get to those options, then you give yourself time and space to actually develop and exhibit the resilience that is inherent in your being. But yeah, I could walk out on my family. I could. That is an option.
It is. It's easier to be a deadbeat than it is to be an actual father. You know what I mean? It's so many.
I mean, the move is easier. Walking out is easier, but I don't know if it actually feels easy, especially to somebody who is that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as I'm sitting here holding my little 4-month-old son, the thing that keeps going through my mind with my own fatherlessness growing up was like a thought that I had never had when I was younger. I used to think I was missing out. I used to think I was missing out on having a dad. But now that I'm like older and I'm holding a 4-month-old boy and I'm just like ecstatic about who he is or who he seems to be, I'm like, damn, he really missed out. Like, my dad really missed out. It's just a difference in perspective. And so it's easy to walk away, but I could hear it. And my dad passed away. It's been like 10 years ago. But I can still hear the regret of those years that he felt like he lost. So even when it's easy to stay away, or even when it's easy to walk away, I don't think it's easy. The move feels easier. So even for entrepreneurship, it's like, unless you have a big enough reason, if you're just trying to get out and make money because you got to survive and all this shit, like, survival is not a good enough reason for most people, because their life is not threatened. If you're in the United States, even if you consider yourself broke, even if you consider yourself poor, you are living off the fat of the abundance that has been siphoned from the rest of the world, like, or from wherever. And so even if you're struggling, the struggle is up here more than it actually is right here. And I don't mean to belittle or put or diminish the fact that people really have real pain and really feel like they have little access. But when I meet fat homeless people, and this is not like a crack on homelessness, like, because it's just a reality check. It's like, yo, there's access to things. There's abundance of things. And when we trick ourselves into thinking otherwise, that's where we get into this mode of like dire straits when things don't go our way immediately. It's like, there's just so much, there's so many people in the world, and there's so much stuff. There is a way for anything if you're willing to pay the cost. And so
what do you guys feel like is the cost? You know what I mean? Like, what has that cost been for you in those dire moments where you've come into, like, where you felt like, you know, this is the end, this is the, or, you know what I mean? Like, what was that crossroads for y'all? Go, Craig.
Nigga, you mean the other day? When? You're still trying to figure shit out. I mean, like, it's constantly that. It's levels to it. Definitely been in worse spots. And, you know, I know of a man who at one point had to borrow money from his parents to pay his rent, and had to borrow a car for a little while he was getting his 2 businesses out of potential bankruptcy. He eventually landed a deal with the U.S. government and NASA for his upstart that he was a part of called SpaceX. And that money allowed him to fund his other business that he was leading, Tesla. And now, you know, this nigga ain't asking nobody for money. He's just stealing it.
Stealing it.
This is another example. What is going on?
Charlotte, we are talking about capitalism. And a core tenet in capitalism is exploitation, and it's get it however. It's propagandizing. It's all of these things, and the best people to do it in the last 250 years have been those who are willing to enslave, pillage, pilfer, and fucking sell snake oil to the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
those
I know.
all the time. I'm not educating you. I'm not trying to explain to you. I'm just for the audience.
Charlotte's just still trying to figure out why, though.
Of all of the struggle entrepreneurship stories, why did you tell the one about Elon Musk? Like,
well, because that's the most extreme example. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the road gets you. I would venture to guess many people regardless feelings of capitalism, have dreams of being rich and dreams of creating. And I feel like those people are a part of our ecosystem too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
Why do people dream of being so-called rich? Like, bro,
Because we out here scratching and surviving. We out here.
nah, bro. You out
I
here.
don't
Look,
agree
I'm
with
gonna put
that.
it to you. I'm gonna put it to you super real. You out here in fresh, clean, linen in a
Oh, yeah.
air cooled or temperature gauged place that you decided how it was gonna be with all sorts of like you are that dude. Like Homeboy Sandman, rapper, he got this line in one of his songs. It says it all. He's like, "We are the 99%, or we are the. It's either we are the." Basically, he's saying that locally we might be the 99%, but globally we're the 1%. Like, you're not struggling because there aren't enough resources or access to them. You are struggling because somewhere in your mind you believe that you have no access to things that you have access to. And that's a real thing. I'm not saying it ain't real, because your thoughts are real things, but it's not the only reality that's available. And the people that we see that are doing things that seem like it's uncanny or like miraculous or even exploitative, maybe they are, but maybe they just decided. Because again, being human is this really spectacular, powerful thing. I do not have to be subject to things that I don't want to be subject to. I can choose to go over a cliff or stand here and let you tell me that you are going to take me as a prisoner. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do ultimately. That is what it means. So there's always an option. And
But there's a
another
cost.
option.
There's a cost to choosing
Yes.
that option.
And this is where we get to your question, right?
So what is the cost of choosing that option?
Your life.
Mm.
Who you think you are right now. That is what it costs. And in entrepreneurship, that is what it costs. Because when you go into thinking that you want to do a certain thing, you're doing it from this perspective over here that you've always already held. When you get into the game in a different way and you start getting the feedback from the world, you either have to decide that you are ready to be different and be changed, or stay the same and then struggle in that tension. And so for me, at every level, and this is what I've seen with everybody that I've worked with too, it's an identity thing. It's like, who am I willing to be? And because if I think that rich niggas are evil because capitalism is exploitative and I live in a system that does that, I'm never going to let myself become something that I think is evil. Never. Because I am always going to see myself as good enough to stay alive and be okay. Like, I just am. My self-perception is going to determine that I'm okay with living with and being myself. And so I'm never going to allow myself to become something that I've already vilified. And that's part of the trick. It's like, because if I keep y'all thinking that I'm evil and I can do all this stuff, you'll never get to be me. Like, people over the years, I've seen people hate on Jay-Z and how he's transformed and what he's done. Like, he's a prime example of this. If you watch and listen to him, it's like he from his perspective, like, we can't see from his perspective, but people who think that he's exploiting, people that think that he's taking advantage of, people that think that, like, those people ain't gonna be where he is, and that's fine. But that's the cost. When you are growing into a new world, the cost that most people don't account for is their old life. That's the people that you hang with. That's the stuff you're willing to tolerate in yourself and others. That's the things you're willing to allow yourself to be around and access. Like, personally, for me, the thing that I am working toward or working through as we speak is this message that I took on, that being quote unquote successful meant that I had to abandon my family. Like, that's a literal, like, unconscious thing in the back of my mind that I'm equating ultimate success or ultimate, like, expression of myself with abandoning the people that I care about most. And so I just had to continually let go of that idea to allow myself to just do the shit that, like, I don't have to care what. I don't have to care what you think about me. I don't have to abandon my family. None of it's required. But the idea and the identity of that person, yeah, he got to go. That dude that thinks that has got to be done. And some of my associations, like some of the people that I love the most in my life, they don't want to do the same kind of thing.
Mhm.
And it's not that they're bad or that there's something wrong with what they're doing. It just ain't in alignment no more. And so if I'm really going to want to keep allowing myself to grow, I ain't got to cut them off and quit hanging with them or nothing like that. But I can't be in their space. I can't prioritize what they value.
Yeah.
I can't do any of that stuff. I can't even listen to my mom the same. I cannot tolerate those messages in the same way. Not because she's not a great person or a great mother or because she's not loving and caring, but because she has a different barometer for safety.
This would be a good time to plug Ascend.
If you haven't joined the Ascend
Hey.
program, please join it because Don is dropping gems. Is what you would. Yeah.
Do not join it if you are not ready to ascend. Do not even consider. But if you got an
That's true.
ache and an awakening and something that's happening inside you that you feel compelled to pursue things that are beyond where you are right now, it is a requirement to get into a place where people are moving in the same manner.
Yeah.
Not even in the same direction, but in the same manner.
I think
Craig,
that, like,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I think, like, when I think about the cost piece, I also think that, like, people get into this, like, binary mindset. And I think it also does exist in capitalism. It's like the hierarchy of, like, oh, if I ascend higher, sorry, that's not the right word. If I get promoted higher, then it means that when I get to the top of whatever corporation or society or whatever, then that means that I have to, like, exploit people, extract from people, and, like, because that's what you do when you're at the top. But if I'm not at the top, then it means that I am at the bottom and I'm being exploited. And then it becomes this, like, oh, well, I don't want to be exploited, so that means I've got to be the person exploiting. And I was talking with a friend about this, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that that's true. Like, I think, to Don's point, that there's, like, a third option of, like, you just don't do any of that. Like, why is it either, like, kill or be killed? Like, why can't it be, like, y'all do that over there, but I'm going to be over here, like, having a great life. I'm not super rich. I'm not super famous, but, like, I'm happy. My family's happy. Like, the people around me are happy. We're all working together. And, like, we all make a living and we're all good. And this kind of, like, place of being like, oh, like, let me fight so that, you know, people don't trample all over me is sad to expect that, like, you're always in this, like, fight or flight mode.
Craig, do you feel like that's kind of like what happened in the hip hop industry? Like, it's such an it's exploitive industry, and then finally people, or say like we finally became black executives, but we started doing the same type of deals with our own people, and the only person who kind of really felt like he was going the other way, Jay-Z, people, can say things about, how his label did things or how he did at Def Jam, but like, do you feel like it would be different if people just like, oh, okay, now that I'm not going to do it like how such and such did me?
I see. You get me with the Hove example because, by saying Hove, biased. But, you got me with that example because I watched the PR campaign of the title rollout and what was attempted at scale when it comes to an industry that does not have a product anymore.
Right.
And then when Rock Nation became its own thing, what they had attempted to do along with Live Nation in making the commodity of an artist their live presence, and along with their recordings and when you stream and everything, but the primary means of extracting dollars from people was streaming farms and live shows, like, and So I saw the attempt to at scale take that system and say we're going to share ownership in this.
Yeah.
And it didn't really go that well. I mean, it didn't go as well as he might have wanted it to. The fire has definitely decreased, but this is what happens at scale when probably the most culturally relevant hip hop figure does something like that, and it still doesn't like that's a different issue. And it's my opinion that hip hop didn't really follow that trajectory as far as like people taking on, you know, the tone and the rule of their, you know, the people that own their masters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it's them adopting that identity after having it done to them. I think it's still people's perception of their options. Like, you know, what would I do if I had somebody on my roster as an executive artist that I'm paying, you know, $500,000 up front, and I know that I'm not going to get that money back through streaming, but this guy's not willing to tour.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, this guy, and why am I being loyal to him? It's because he's my friend, or because he was signed to the same label as me before I was the executive. Like, what do I do with this guy? You got to let him go.
Yeah.
That guy is going to go tell a story about how he was exploited. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how that gets generated. Hip hop specifically, I think just suffers from being a young, idealistic thing that was exploited by the people who honestly didn't give a fuck about it.
That's good.
That's a great example and analysis of that scenario. And the part that is probably the most poignant to me is that the guy who his friend didn't do right by him, according to him, has a story that he was exploited, and now he's going to tell that story. He didn't get what he expected, even though expectations might not have been fully outlined. But you can't control things outside of yourself in that manner. And so the way the whole thing plays out, if you take the victim role, that's the story that you got to have.
I don't even think that's the victim role. In this scenario, this guy was exploited. Because let's say for shits and giggles, the executive goes in before he lets this guy go, he goes to an investor and says, I got 30 people on my roster, and this is the revenue that I'm bringing in. If exploitation wasn't a thing, he would keep the guy because it's not costing him anything. And this is how record labels used to be structured. They had
sold them as a part of assets
roster, because that's what it's kind of like being a landlord of a commercial, you know, residential facility, right? If you have vacancies, your building is still worth the amount a tenant would be paying just because you have the space and you priced it at the market value. It's the same thing with the record industry. Like back then, when we were selling physical CDs, like the exploitation of the artist was, I'm gonna sit him on my roster, I'm gonna parade him around, I'm gonna let people know the potential, because that was value back then. Today, people have not yet. Yeah, y'all starting these businesses, y'all know what y'all doing. Yeah, like it's the same thing with this guy. Like, people don't understand how the machine works and what the toll is actually going to be, and that's when it feels like exploitation.
Gotcha. So it feels like exploitation there. Can you be exploited and not be a victim, though?
Well, that's loaded, because obviously the answer is all the above.
You know? I mean, it's not necessarily loaded in terms of that's the only real answer. It's like, it's a real question. Like, can exploitation happen but not victimization? Because what's the difference between the meanings? Because I will exploit myself, I'll exploit my skills, I'll exploit my talents, I will sell them off in a certain way for a certain thing. And if I'm being even remotely wise, I'm probably putting myself in a position knowing that somebody else is exploiting me, but I'm trying to exploit that situation myself. I'm using my own cunning, if you will, if I use a different word than wisdom, to do something that has a goal where I leverage it for something else. But just because I get exploited, this is my point, is that just because I get exploited doesn't necessarily mean I'm a victim. Not playing the victim. I don't want to say it like that. But if you take on the role of a victim, then the story is going to be that somebody else did this.
You're gonna make me do it. You're gonna make me, and it's my quasi-Marxist hat that I'm gonna put on just for this.
Let's go.
Because exploitation is a condition of the game. It's like gravity in the capitalist universe. It exists, and it's something that you have to interact with in the system that we've all agreed to. At the same time, just on a spirit level, the shit's not natural. It's not natural to exploit things in this manner. Maybe there's some principle universally in taking things and multiplying them. But when it comes to how we do this, and I'm saying like just using that example of the record executive, the example, like why he has to cut this guy off of his roster instead of making sure that, this guy's kids get fed and all that. Like, it's not about that. His mandate as an executive is to be accountable to the bottom line.
Sure.
Right. And the bottom line is another one of those widgets within the system that is not natural. We don't own the means of production as a people. And without owning the means of production, time we start killing some motherfuckers. Without owning the means of production, it is a illegitimate system to the soul. So exploitation is victimization. Like it is to a degree. You may be willing to withstand the winds that come with being a victim. That doesn't mean that the winds aren't supposed to be blowing on your ass as you just try to make your art. You feel what I'm saying? Like
I hear the passion in what you're saying.
It's just that art existing in an exploitative system is just what we've accepted.
So there's a layer of extraction though. Like I think to Don's point, like you can exploit your gifts, but I think the extraction point is where like the victimization comes in.
That's different. Because if we're talking about extraction, that is a completely different concept from exploitation.
Yeah. I'm saying that like when we're talking about the victimization of this, like I think the extraction part, I think is where the two of those things, victimization and extraction, come hand in hand. Whereas I think what I'm hearing is that like exploitation and victimization don't always have to like coincide. But I think like there is a likelihood that they do in capitalism. And I think there's also the awareness. Like if you're not aware that you're being exploited by somebody else and you think that you're in some sort of partnership or you think you're on the same playing field, then there is a little bit of victimization. But I think you can still be in a system like capitalism, knowing you're being exploited, and also be like, well, I'm taking my cut so that this is not an uneven playing field we're on. But I think the extraction of that is different.
So I think the agreement part is where this hinges, is that I agree to do this thing in exchange for another thing. And I don't think many people are not privy to that, specifically in the music industry at this point, right? Or an artist in general, unless you just kind of blinded yourself to like, this is what it means to be an artist and this is what it has to mean to be an artist. But all I'm really talking about is positioning yourself as the victim and how that produces the story that somebody did something to me. And now I'm going to project that story everywhere and cause myself not to have as much power as I could by understanding, like, okay, a different example with this is Kanye, right? Told us a whole 25-year-long story about what he was going to do, how he's going to do it. Now he's sitting at the back of this story thinking he's crazy, he doing this, losing billion-dollar deals, all of this stuff. And then I saw, this is just for the story's sake, but seeing a video of Kanye and him talking about losing the deals, and he's like, but I'm free. And he said, gotcha. He's like, he supposedly, in his own mind, is never a victim to anything, right? Because of how he positions himself. If he did something that causes somebody else to make a choice, he's like, he was trapped before. He felt like he was constrained, according to what this gotcha is that he said. It's like he loses $1 billion deal, but now he's free to do whatever he feels like doing in the way that he wants to. And now he's saying, I got y'all. It's all like, yes, you can seem crazy by doing that. But my point of this is like asking about what is victimization really? And it is primarily dependent on your own perspective of what's occurring. And you can think that you're a victim even when somebody's intention was not to victimize you. And you can be exploited in a way that is from the outside looks like tragedy and still stand in that and be like, yep, this is exactly what I expected. So the expectation and the intention and your own position is what I'm talking about more than the state of a system. Because if you interact with that system by virtue of having to or even thinking that you have to, you still got a choice in it. That's my point, is that at the end of the day, everywhere, even without the knowledge, we are making choices that allow us to create a story that could be beneficial to us or detrimental to us. And when we have a victimized story, then we're going to tell that story to others that somebody did something wrong to me to perpetuate that story.
It's almost like you gotta ask the question like, or the sliding scale, like how much am I willing to be a victim today? Like, am I gonna be a victim as far as like, because I mean, it's like,
Nigga robbed you, but he can't like.
but he can't take everything out of my pockets. You know what I mean? It reminds me of this interview I watched with Joe on the Joe Budden podcast with the dude Isaiah Haran, and this kid is like next age artist where he's like, the album that I just put out, you know, I did it in 2 weeks, you know, and my label is actually telling me not to make more music, but that's all I want to do is make music. And I just kind of like let them handle all the stuff, you know what I mean? And throughout this interview, they were picking apart like whether he was like being exploited or not, you know what I mean? In the sense of like, you know, do they just lock you up in a room because you like to be locked up in the room cranking out music all day? You know what I mean? I had a lot of different thoughts about this. One, is this the new age artist because we consume music so much, like where he can kick out 10 albums in a year? You know what I mean? And so is that what we are moving to now? But it sounds like his label is like holding him back from making music when that's all he wants to do. He doesn't want to do anything else. But like it's like he wakes up and says, I'm okay with, I mean, is he essentially being exploited? You know what I mean? In a way because it's a vulnerability that he has. Like, I don't want to deal with the business of things. And so, yeah. So like now he's like, I'm 25% on the exploitation, on the victimization scale.
So I just finally looked up the definition. Exploit, according to Google, an exploit is the use of something for selfish advantage, often unfairly, for example, exploiting workers, or to make productive use of a resource. It also refers to a notable heroic feat, or in computing, a method to take advantage of a vulnerability. So that's usually what we're talking about, is taking advantage of somebody's vulnerability. But the vulnerability is what really? And I know that most people don't think like this, so I'm not trying to talk over that as much as I'm just trying to get this idea clear. Is like, if you believe that you have to do something in order to be okay, then you have that as a vulnerability. And the truth is that you can do whatever you want to do, whatever you can tolerate doing, whatever you can tolerate the consequences of. Yeah. So you're not really limited except by what you limit yourself by. And if I say, I got to go to school and get a job, and I got to be this kind of thing, and I have to have this kind of money to be okay, and all of this other stuff, I need to get this type of house and car, then yes, you are in a position to be exploited because of those things that you decided or that you were conditioned to think were the only option. So that's fair. and yet you still get to choose. Now I'm gonna look up what a victim is, because a victim is a person, animal, entity that suffers direct physical, emotional, or financial harm, death, or injury resulting from a crime, accident, disease, or adverse circumstances. It also refers to someone deceived or cheated by others, or a living being sacrificed in a religious rite. So that's a very specific definition, and yet we use it all the time as if somebody is harming you because you didn't get what you fucking expected. Just because you didn't get what you expected and somebody else did something that you didn't know how they were doing it or why or whatever, like now you put your, like, I'm a victim of them. And this is very specific about physical, emotional, or financial harm. It's like, I'm taking advantage of something in a certain way. But if you make an agreement, if I agreed to be in this position without knowing all the ins and outs of how it works, are you a victim?
Yes.
If you want to be.
Yes. On the scale, you're like.
If you want to be.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to define and do and to create the intellectual model for it. It's easier to do that than to live in it. Like the living in it is that person that we're talking about that enters into the agreement that they at that point all of their information says that they need. And once they enter into that and they find out things that they weren't privy to, either that were either things that were not revealed to them or things that were blind spots in their own understanding, regardless, if you are in a system that's victimizing you, you're a victim.
I think yeah.
I only add to that, if you choose to be.
And yeah, I think there's a mindset. There's a mindset that you take
victimized on. Even when I'm not. For instance, when my 21-month-old daughter slaps the shit out of me because she's just reacting in her own nervous system, not being calm, and she's, and then I can make that in my mind be like, dang, she don't
mess
fuck
with me.
Like, this is my baby, and I love her like crazy, but she don't really like me right now. And I can feel the depth of that in my soul, where I'm like, dang, man, I'm just not the father that I wanted to be, and such and such. And so I can feel something that's real. And I do this, by the way, or it's very brief, but I notice it and I take note of it because it helps me understand what's still in me. Like, am I that self-centered that my child doing something that I don't like means something negative about me, or that I don't know how to handle means something negative about me? Am I a person in the world where I go about my business and things happen that reveal something about me that I was holding an idea or a belief, and now that means that I've been victimized by that system? I don't think it has to, but it feels like shit nonetheless. So just because I feel bad doesn't mean that I'm a victim. And yes, people can be quote unquote victimized, harmed without even being aware of it. Sure. And so I can concede that. But what the kind of thing that we're talking about here is the sense of victimization and the story and identity of being a victim within a system. And that shit's optional.
I think that's a good point. I think both of y'all raised good points, because it's the what happens after. You know what I mean? Like, how do I have a hard time I don't have a hard time, but one thing that I am trying to help out with is, I'm a big stats guy, so sorry, y'all. But the 300 plus Black women who are now unemployed, or they say that they're unemployed, you know what I mean? And for them to be brought into the system, and they chose to be a part of the system. But they chose to be a part of a system that they did help build and continue to build. And they, and then for it to seem like now them losing their jobs is at a very cliff-like situation. Like, they truly feel like victims in this large system, that even though it was their choice. Like, what do you say to that person who is trying to
I
navigate.
would ask if all 300 of them feel like that. Because have you ever been fired from a job and it been the best thing that happened to you? Like, anybody out there got cut from something that they've been trying to leave already, or that they thought they needed to already? Like, again, so many different possibilities. And so to put everybody in this boat, like all of them are a victim, I think it's a disrespect to the human being at their core, because I bet it's at least 5 of them women who like, thank you. I've been needing to get out of this and I just didn't have the oomph to do it, right? And now they can go about their life in a fuller way. Maybe it's more like 100 of them. Who knows? High level women of any kind doing things like, tell you what, it's a gift of release for some people, right? Again, it's about the story you tell yourself. And yeah, so if they are all called together because they all are Black women who have been done in this certain way, and now they're told they have to be in this group of victims so that they can push this agenda, or so that they can make a protest of some sort, or that other people should feel bad for them. Yeah, I don't think so. We're talking about 300 different people. You can get 30 people in a room and have 5 different ways of seeing things, at least, even if they all been conditioned in the same system. So I don't buy it. It all sounds like a story that somebody has an agenda to do a certain thing with. And whenever I'm told I'm supposed to be a part of a group, especially being a victim in that group, I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Because I don't say I understand the game fully, but I understand that there's a game being played. And if I'm hearing about something in the news, or if I'm hearing about something enough over and over again, and I'm supposed to have a certain response to it, yeah, somebody's trying to pull the string somewhere. And I'm okay with that. I'm just not playing it if I don't feel like playing it. So what I would say to a person who really feels victimized, I would empathize with them and I would ask them some questions if I had the chance to interface with them about what their real options were, and about what the benefit of the story that they're telling themselves is. And I would bet that a good half of the ones that I got to say something to would be like, you know what, fuck them people. Like, because I needed to get out of here anyway. It was stressing me out. They was wearing me down. They was making me feel like this, or I was feeling like this in that environment. And now I don't the same way. So again, it's just a matter of perspective. And so I'm not trying to belittle it, but when a system at large is shifting, or when the world is continuing to evolve, there's going to be casualties to that, meaning the system has to crash. A system that's built on something that is unsustainable. And again, here we are in some level of a system that's been around for, in its current form, for maybe 300-400 years, and then a longer arc of time with the extension of that same system. It's like, it can't last, especially not in the face of all the greatness of the people that it purports to exploit. It's like, you just can't hold them in that position for that long. You just can't. So when you're looking at Black people in general, but human beings even more generally, it's life. Life just continues to just do things that you won't be able to control in the same way. So if you have a system that is built on controlling and containing life, and you leave it alone for long enough, that shit's gonna break out. It just will. You leave a city unkempt for long enough, wildlife will take over. Don't cut your grass enough, you'll have a whole new ecosystem that builds up in your front yard. Like, that's how life works. So when you're talking about people, which seem to be one of the pinnacles of life doing its thing on this planet, yeah, you can't contain it. So it has to fail if it's built on containing and constraining this ultimately powerful thing that has no real bounds that you know of, except when you put it in a box.
True.
Pause.
Oh man, no, this was good, y'all. I don't want to keep us too long, man. I feel like we end up on these good points, but just wanted to remind everybody that we do have our In Good Company meetup happening on, was that Wednesday at 7 o'clock? No, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. It's at 5. From 5 to 7 is when we're having that. Just wanted to drop that little plug in real quick. Want to leave everybody with one last thought. Like, what's one good final thought of the night as we close out? We almost at 2 hours. I didn't think we was gonna make it that far, but shit, right? It's pretty good. Craig, I know we didn't get to the homework. I'm scared. I was like, homework, dog. What is the homework that he said that I told him that he needed
told
to do?
us to write sentences about. I'll be reading your chat GPT, bro.
Okay. I read it too. But we skipped a week and I just forgot about that. I sent y'all to write some stuff. So I'll get up on it and we'll do that next time. I might have a guest for us next time too. So, but yeah. What's final thought?
Listen, man, I know that I be talking on a whole nother plane, and people are really just trying to figure out how they gonna get up and go to work the next day.
Fuck that.
So no, for real. I get that that's real, and I get that the survival is real. So I would echo the same thing I said earlier, which is this truth is that you do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you've chosen to do what you are doing now because of what you wanted at some point. But everything don't last forever. And so if the things and the reasons that you chose to do what you're doing now are up, have the courage to face what you want next. And if you got something in you that's wanting something more than what you currently experience, it just takes courage, and courage is a muscle. So take the step, build the muscle, and get you a group of people that can support you in that journey. That's all I got to say.
Go ahead. Anybody?
I'm not adding on to that.
I was like, moment of silence for the mic drop.
Right.
Y'all didn't hear my hand claps? God damn it. It didn't work.
No. Absolutely did not.
I can only hear it in my headphones. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say that, like, I think I would just repeat that, like, if you're thinking about whether or not it's a fight or flight mode, just choose the third option. You don't have to fight, or I guess maybe it's more like the fight, you like perpetuating the fighting, or you, I guess, being victimized by the fighting. Like, choose the third option. It just feels like way more chill over here.
Thanks.
You got you done? You ain't got nothing, Craig?
No, I'd echo what they said. I mean, come on, people are brilliant.
These people are brilliant. Damn, man. I had one final video and it's gone. Oh, there you go.
You need their video.
Hey, man, listen. This is
The video's negative.
This is my thing. It's not. This is a positive video. Oh, damn. My sound will be done.
Well,
But it's also
tell
like,
us in person. Tell us what
headphones?
he's saying.
It's Richard Pryor.
Yeah, do his voice.
Shit. Don't do it. You the shit. And if they can't see that, fuck them. Ain't nobody gonna tell you, so I'm gonna tell you. They don't fuck with you because them motherfuckers can't fuck with you. You the shit, and they bitch ass don't like it.
I think this is AI.
It might
Totally
be AI.
But
Hey,
A1.
A1. It's right. Hey, I don't care. Listen, I listen to AI music and everything, man. So don't judge me.
They got him.
Hey, they be
I'm
hitting.
judging you so hard.
Don't judge me. I listen to Craig Smith too, though. I got a balance. I got a good balance. Like he get a lot of plays, but the AI comes up on the shuffle. Like I don't even realize that it's AI, and it just I look at it.
This
And
is
I'm
a
like,
discussion for a different day.
okay, what if it was a black woman who made the AI like person sing?
No.
And am I still supporting a black artist?
No, you know that AI exploits somebody else's.
But she
He's not a
realized
victim.
where's she at on the victim scale?
He's not a victim.
She's not a victim. Somebody else's stuff.
She is a victim. About. No, she's a victim because she could not sing any solos her whole entire life. And so she decided with AI that she was going to be able to sing the songs that she wanted to sing now with her own voice because she created it.
This sounds like what happened to the that lady.
I don't know. I can't remember. This is actually a legit story, but she's a victim.
No, she's not. I mean, she could sing. Maybe not sing in public because like people will.
No, she cannot sing in public. People said that she cannot sing in public. So
I'll tell you who's a victim, and there's the last thing I'm gonna say. Me and Irv, the Phenom, were on a phone call one day, and I remember I had listened to his album, and it started playing something after his album on Spotify, and it was like, oh, this is fire too. Then I listened to my album on Spotify, and the song that started playing after mine had me questioning who the fuck Spotify thinks I am. This bullshit is playing after. This is who y'all think I sound like?
It's some humbling shit. This is the fuck y'all think I am.
This is horrible. Anyway.
Yeah. So if you haven't noticed by now, please make sure y'all find Craig Smith on Spotify and on SoundCloud. Let's get them listens up so he can get next to some bigger artists.
No,
That,
thank you.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Peace.